Hello everyone, this is Deji of thecodeangle.com, and in today's video tutorial I'll be showing us how we can send data from a contact form to Firebase. And to do this we'll be using the Cloud Fire Store to send this data. So without wasting much time, let's get started. So let me show you a quick demo of what we're going to be building today. So when I click on this video and then I play this video, we can see we have a contact form here which we can enter some data and submit to the Cloud Fire Store. So once this data is submitted, it updates in real time, and then the data we sent can be displayed in the on the dashboard without a need to refresh the dashboard in the Firebase Cloud Fire Store. So that's it basically. It's gonna be easy, direct, and straightforward. So um, let me just give a brief explanation of what the Cloud Fire Store is about. The Cloud Fire Store is a cloud hosted NoSQL database. It supports iOS, Android, and web applications, and then it saves data, or it stores data in documents that contains field mappings to values. So these documents are stored in a set of collections, which I'll be showing us later in the tutorial. And then the documents can be used to organize your data and build queries. Documents supports any data types ranging from simple strings and numbers to complex nested objects. So you can create sub collections within documents and build hierarchical data structures that scale your database as it grows. As you get more users, you'll be able to scale the database. The Cloudflare Store data model supports whatever data structure works best for your application. So I think I'm gonna drop a link in the description below on the documentation that explains this, so you can read and then understand what the Cloudflare Store does. So for us, let's get started with the project. And I think where I should start from is to actually create the form we will be working with. So to do that, I'm gonna go to my computer, and then on my computer I'm gonna locate the documents, and then go to a folder called YouTube and create a new folder, which will be where our projects will be created. So I'm gonna name this let me see, let me name this cloud form. So let me now go into the cloud form directory. So um on the field there I can type cmd, and then uh open that directory, and then we open it in Visual Studio Code. To do that, I'm just gonna press type code and then full stop and press enter. So our Visual Studio Code editor will be opened. So I'm gonna create um, three files in this directory, and the first one is gonna be the index.html file, the app.css file, and then we're also gonna create the um, app.js file. So I'm gonna rename the css file as style.css, not app.css actually. So rename, remove the app, and then type style.css, press enter. So let's generate a boilerplate template on the index.html file. So I'm gonna press shift and the exclamation mark to bring about a boilerplate HTML template and I'm gonna press enter. So let me change the title to cloud form, and then let's have an header here. Let's just say h3 type in cloud form. Also, let's link the CSS file. So to link that, we're gonna press link, and then so we're gonna press the rel style sheet. So since they are in the same level, I'm just gonna type in style.css where they have intelligence for that. So the same thing applies to the JavaScript. I'm gonna link the JavaScript too somewhere around here. So script. So this one is gonna be the source is gonna be app.js. To see if this is gonna work in the browser, I'm gonna change the background color here to, let's see, let's give the background of red. And the app.js, let me just type in an alert object and say linked. So to save everything, let me remove the welcome page. To save everything, I'm just going to type Control K and then S. So that's going to be saved. So let's open this in the browser with live server. Yeah, so as we can see, our CSS file and our JavaScript file has been linked to the HTML file, so we can remove whatever we typed here. So quickly, let me increase the font of our code editor. I think this is big enough. So I'm gonna clear this and this and save again. Control K and S. This is gonna save all the files where we made the changes. Let me reduce the width of this. It can't go below that for some reason. So to create the form, I'm gonna go to I don't want to waste much time creating the form, so I'm just gonna go to W3 School to get a form from there. So W3 School CSS form. I can type form. So click on that, then it takes us to the page. So I'm gonna grab this form, the code for this form. Let me click on this, try it yourself. So it's gonna bring out the code for that form, and I'm gonna copy and paste it in our project. So let me grab the whole of this div here, copy that, and then paste it somewhere here. Yes, I think this might be too big. Let me reduce it a bit. Paste it somewhere here. So we're gonna grab the CSS too. Copy that. Control C. And then paste it in our CSS file. So let's save both files. Control K S. And then let's check our page. Why is it not refreshing? Yeah. So we have design. So I'm just gonna add since the entire width has been taken by the form, I'm just gonna add a margin to the body of the page. So on top here, I'm gonna type in body. So the margin is gonna be added to all the four sides of the form. So I'm just typing margin 40 px. I'm gonna save that, and then when we check the page, yes, it gives us a good container where the form is properly displayed. So let me change this what's it called, this test for this f2 here, h3 rather, and it's gonna be called Firebase contacts. Can't spell contact. Contacts form. I save that and I go back to the page. Well, I want this to be in the center of the form. So what I'll do is in the CSS, we're gonna write, I think this might be the last CSS we'll be writing before we get straight to Firebase. So I'm gonna have an h2, no, h3 rather, and it's gonna be adding a text align, which will be center to center it. So when I save, this should center the text Firebase contact form. So this is perfect. I think now that we have the form, we can delve straight into Firebase. Also, I would like us to be aware of the fact that I'll be writing a little bit of JavaScript to connect Firebase to the Cloud Fire Store. So the next thing we're gonna do now is to set up our Firebase Cloud Fire Store project. So to do that, you should go to firebase.google.com and in there sign in into your account. Then once you do that, go straight to the console. So once you go straight to the console, a new page is going to be displayed for you. So this page will contain some projects if you've worked with some things in Firebase before. So for me, I'm just gonna add a new project. So I'm gonna start from scratch and I'm gonna call this project what's it called? I'm gonna call this cloud form. Cloud dash form and press continue. So it's gonna ask us if we would like to enable Google Analytics. For this project, we don't need Google Analytics, so I'm gonna disable this and then click on create project. So our project is being created by Firebase. So once it's created, what is going to happen is it's going to link us directly to the Firebase dashboard. So that's where we can set up our project and then send our data to it from there. So it's created, then we can press on the continue key and we are being routed to our dashboard. So first thing I would like us to do is maybe you can click, if you are using Windows, click on the search bar and search for Notepad. So if you search for Notepad, click on Notepad. I'm gonna show you a reason why we are doing this very soon. So first, click on this web icon here. It's gonna ask you to give your app a nickname. So I'm gonna give it for me. You can give it anything you want, and you're gonna have a checkbox which says, if asks you if you want to set up Firebase hosting. We're not going to be doing that in this project, so I'm not going to click on that checkbox. So I'm just going to click on register application. So once the application is registered, we are going to get a script tag which contains an object. So we need this object to connect to our our Cloud Fire Store. So everything here is unique. So you're gonna have an API key, an auth domain, project ID, storage buckets, and the likes. So just copy this, copy everything here, Control C. We're gonna be putting this in our projects later, so just paste it in your notepad for now, or somewhere else. It doesn't have to be the notepad, but I'm just gonna put mine in the notepad to make things easy for me. So now on the dashboard, let's take a look here. On the right side menu, you have authentication, Cloud Fire Store, real-time database, and like. So for us, we're gonna be using Cloud Fire Store. So I'm gonna click on that. So the Cloud Fire Store opens up. So we're gonna create click on create database. So this is our first database. So we have two options, two radio buttons. The first is for production mode, which doesn't allow you to easily, you need to write some script to be able to access it, but ours is going to be on the test mode. So I'm going to click on test mode. I'm going to click on next. We're going to be asked to select a location, so I'm going to leave it in the default location and then click on enable. So our project is being enabled. So this is going to propagate very soon. Still loading, depending on how fast your internet is. So your internet might be faster than mine, so yours might load in seconds, but mine is taking me a little bit of time. But here we go. So now we have a Cloud Fire Store database. As I said earlier, when I was trying to give us a brief overview of what the Cloud Fire Store is about, I said data are stored in collections, and each collection has its own document. So for us to start this, I'm going to create manually a new collection. So um to do this, um I'm going to have to create a collection ID. So I'm going to call this collection ID, uh let me see, form data. So we're gonna, in the document, which is the next stage, is we have to generate an ID automatically. So when I click on that, an ID is generated. So yeah, I can just type in a field. Let me just call this name. It's going to be a type of string. Like I said, it supports various types. The Cloudflare also supports strings, numbers, boolean, map, array, null, timestamp, and the likes. But for us, we're going to be dealing with a string, so I select that, then give it a random value. I'm just going to call this test name and then save. So presto, there we go. So now we've manually created our first what's it called, collection, which has this documents, unique document. So from now, we can now do the rest in our projects, in our JavaScript project. So I'm gonna go back to the projects here. So um we're gonna go to the app.js. So first things first, I want us to grab the Firebase config objects, which was generated for us while we were creating the Cloud Fire Store. So let me just type this comment here. This is gonna be unique Firebase objects. So I'm gonna go back to my notepad, then I'm just gonna copy the var variable object here, and then I'm gonna copy this and I'm gonna paste this here. So before I go further, there's something very important we should know about the Cloudflare stuff. For us to connect to it, since we'll be using the web format, we need to have some scripts in our project. So I'm also gonna drop the link in this of this page to the description, because without this two scripts tag we have here, our projects will never connect to Firebase, and then we need to copy it exactly the way it is here. That is, this one that ends with the Firebase dash app dot js needs to be above every other script tag in the project. So I'm just going to copy this and this, and then I'm going to paste it in the HTML above our script tag. So paste that. Let me see. Let me format all selections. Okay, that doesn't work the way I wanted. So now we have all our script tag which is needed to connect to our Cloud Firestore project in our HTML file. So this is perfect. Now this is version 8.2.2, and by the time you are watching this video, it might be version 10.8.2, anything, I don't know. It depends on what Google have in mind. It depends on what their next update is going to be, but this is the latest updates. and the latest version rather. So that's what I currently have, and you might likely have the same too, depending on when you are watching this video. So the next thing we need to do is to initialize Firebase. So to initialize Firebase, let me just put a comment here also. Initialize. Uh, Let me remove the server. Let me just type initialize Firebase. So to do this, I'm also going to go back to the Firebase, the notepad where I copied all the objects I'll be needing. So I'm going to copy this Firebase dot initialize app, paste this there. Then I'm going to create a variable called Firestore. I'm going to call the Firebase object here. Assign the Firebase object to it, Firebase. So that's all we need to do to initialize Firebase. I'm going to save that. I'm going to save this too. So let me go back to the page and see if we have any errors. Let me check the console. Set Firebase dot Firebase is not a function. I don't think we need to worry about that for now. Let's see as we go along if it's gonna give us any error. So another thing we need to do next is also to access the database collection we manually created in the database. So I'm gonna type in another comment here. This, why I'm doing this is for this to be as clear as possible to anyone watching this video, so we're able to access database collection. So to do that, we're gonna be just declaring a single variable called db. So I'm gonna type const db is equals to Firestore, no, not Firebase, Firestore dot collection, and then wherever the name of um the collection we created here, whatever the name it is, we need to, it has to be the same name of the collection we have in the form. So for us, it's gonna be form data using the camel case style. So that's all we need to do as regarding Firebase. Now the next thing we need to do is just to deal with the form. So I'm gonna go back to the form because we need to check if we have an ID. Okay, we have an ID here because we're gonna be accessing each IDs by wherever it is called in the HTML. So we have a name and we have name fields called name, first name, last name, and country. Perfect. So I think we can work with this. And also I would like to change this input to a button. I'm gonna change this to a button. So I'm gonna remove this. I'm gonna call this button. I'm gonna remove this value. Close the button. The button the button tag or element, and I'm gonna give it an ID of submit. And I'm gonna save that, and I'm gonna go back to the project. Let's see if there's an whoa. So in the CSS, as we can see, we have inputs here instead of button. I changed the elements in the HTML to button. So yeah, let me change this to button. Type submit. This is also, I'm gonna remove this type of submit, and I'm gonna change this to button. While I am going to leave that as text, let me save this and then go back. Yes, our form is perfect again. So the form is perfect again, so we can work with this. To submit the form, always remember that the type has to be a type of submit. So let's now get access to every element of the form. So the first one we're gonna get is the submit form. So get submit form. So let's, oh shit, let's submit button. It goes to document dot get elements by ID, which is what, submit. I don't want to have any errors with that, so I had to check. So submit. So for the rest of the elements, I'm gonna be getting them. We're gonna be adding an event listener to this submit event. So we're gonna be getting every other data in the field. So um let's add an event listener. So I'm gonna type create event listener to allow form submission. So to do this, I'm gonna call the variable. So submit button dot add event listener. It's gonna be a click event. So it's taken in two properties here. So a click event and then an arrow function. I'm gonna add an e here. I'm gonna show you why very soon. Open an object. So normally when you submit a form reloads a page. So that's the default behavior of a form. So I'm gonna prevent that default form submission by adding an prevent default function. So e dot prevent default method. This helps also. Before I save it, let me show you what I mean. If I should press a submit button here, you see the page is being whoa, we have an action.page. Oh, that's in the form. I'm gonna remove that now. So uh before I do that, um let me save this prevent default and also go to the form, and we're gonna remove this form. This is meant for PHP. We're not doing PHP here. This is JavaScript. So I'm gonna save that again and I go back to the form and I press submit. So the default behavior of the form has been removed. So back to our what's it called, JavaScript. So let's get the values for each of the form. We have only three fields, so let me get the form values. So let's first name is equals to document dot get element by ID. First name is called f name, right? I'll confirm that. Dot value, we're gonna be needing value of each one. So let me just copy this down twice. So we have first name, last name, and then country. So to confirm, let me check the ID. Okay, last name is L name, and then country is just country. Straight to the point. So another thing we need to do is we need to save the data to Firebase, and to do that, Firebase comes with its own default document methods, which we're gonna be making use of in this particular place. So let me give us a nice comment to explain things better. So save data to Firebase. So to save data to Firebase, we need to make a reference to the Firebase document collection that we the variable that we created here. So I'm gonna say db, which is the name of the variable, dot doc dot set, and then open up an object. So in this object, I'm gonna make um this is how our data will be referenced, the keys in which it will be referenced in the database. So if I say f name, then I'm gonna call the first name variable there, which we declared inside the submit function event listener. So last name, of course, last name, and then country is country. So this returns a promise actually. So we're gonna connect the promise by uh, declaring a dot then, and then using an arrow function. So the arrow function, to show that the form has been submitted, I'm just gonna console.log data saved. And in the event of an error, I'm gonna use the catch method to catch any error that might arise during the process in which the form is submitted. So um let's see, this is supposed to have another bracket here, close it here. So I'm gonna catch any error. So console.log clg error, so passing the error. So let's save. I think with this little bit of amount of JavaScript code, forms should be able to submit data to the database. So let me open the console here to see if we're going to be having any error. So first name is going to be Deji, last name is going to be Sugar, and then the country, let me select Canada. Let me submit this and then check the Cloudflare documents. Whoa, it's not updated. Let me go back to my code base and see if we have any errors here. Okay. Um, yes, this is supposed to be Firestore, not Firebase. Firestore. So let me save that now and go back to our form. So let me save another. Let me write in another data and submit. So still no data. So let me go back in our code base. So this, okay, I can see where the error is. This is supposed to be Firestore, the Firestore. Let me save this now. Hopefully this should make everything perfect. Yes, we no longer have that error. There was an error here before, so let's see. Hopefully this time it works. Yes, data saved. And then when we check the database, the Cloud Fire Store rather, um oh, we made another basic error. It's FOM instead of FORM. Okay, let me change that here. That's why we are not getting the data. So change this to FOM. Save. Wow, what's going on today? So many errors. Submit. Data saved. And presto, we have our data. Fantastic. So what I'm gonna do is change this Australia to Nigeria, because I'm from Nigeria. Yes, I'm biased. Nigeria. Save that. So one more time. Before that, let me add an alert box, an alert object box here. So anytime the form is submitted, we get an alert that says form has been submitted, just for formalities. Your form has been submitted successfully. So let's see, code angle Nigeria submit. Okay, yeah, data saved. Your form has been yeah. Yes, we also have the data here, code angle. Oh, the value still remains Australia. value is supposed to be Nigeria. So save that. And go then data saved. So country Nigeria, form name Deji, and then last name Angful or Angu rather. So that's it basically concerning this project. So I hope you'll be able to learn one or two things here. Thank you very much for watching, and I'm gonna put the project on GitHub and the link is gonna be down in the description. I hope you're able to learn one or two things from this, and I'll see you in the next video tutorial. Enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye.